juliedavison.com. Welcome to my free online class. Today I'm featuring the Wildlife Wonder stamp set from Stampin' Up. This is such a great stamp set for masculine cards. If you're not familiar with me, I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator. Just celebrated my 20th anniversary last week. So exciting! I live in central Illinois in the United States. And what else was I going to say? Oh, I do, I do these monthly classes where I feature a new stamp set each month and we make 5 different cards using that stamp set. So today's class is featuring the Wildlife Wonder stamp set. However, I think the card ideas that we're going to make today are going to be great no matter what stamp set you're using. So if you have a different wildlife stamp set or a different masculine stamp set, I think you're going to be able to substitute images really well. In fact, I have some samples using Brewed for You, which is a new bundle from Stampin' Up with the beer. I also have some samples, and we'll make more samples using the He's All That designer paper. In fact, that paper is featured in the card kit. If you haven't seen this paper, I need to show you because it's kind of amazing. The He's All That designer paper includes 12 by 12 pieces of the paper that I'm showing you today. There are 5 different patterns. And so in the card kit, I've included 6 by 6 pieces of each of those 5 patterns. Now on the one side, the side that we're going to use tonight, it is pretty basic patterns and nice masculine colors: Cajun Craze, Early Espresso, Sahara Sand, and Basic Black. But on the opposite side, you have some patterns that are a little busier. We've got mid-macaron with the camping. We've got some barbecue with the pig and the cow and the smoker in there. We've got some all dressed up with bow ties and glasses and shoes, some classic cars, and then another really great neutral pattern with a brown plaid. Now, the thing that I love about this designer paper, the He's All That paper, is that it also has 2 sheets of die cuts. Look at all of these die cuts. And so you're just using the designer paper at home and substituting some of these die cuts, you could make all these cards without doing any stamping at all. And so I'm going to show you some samples of what that would look like. Now, the card kit does not include the die cuts, but if you get the He's All That designer paper, it's called He's the Man. The bundle is called He's All That. He's the Man 12 by 12 designer paper. You can get this in my online store. There's the item number 159068. I think I have the link in the video description as well. So if you get that, you'll get a whole package of the 12 by 12 paper. So in the card kit, I've got 6 by 6 pieces. We're going to cut those to put on our cards today. The card kit also includes some pre-cut cardstock pieces to be making the cards that we're going to do, and some linen thread and rustic metallic dots. Now, if you don't already have your card kit, it's not too late. Let me show you really quick. You can get the PDF, which is just the tutorials, which I will be using tonight as my guide as we go through these. But you can still get a card kit. I've got several of those left. So if you're interested, the PDF is on Etsy, and you can get that right now for immediate download. So if you want to look at that right now and print it out while we're going through these cards tonight or while you're watching the replay, then you can grab that in my Etsy shop, and you can fill out the Google form to reserve a card kit. I've got Thomas moderating tonight and watching all of your comments. How many people we got watching, Tom?
48 right now.
48 people watching live. I'm so glad that you're joining us. Let us know if you're stamping along with tonight or if you're just watching. I hope either way that you love making these cards along with me tonight. Any comments you want to tell me about, Tom?
Yeah, Ellen says good morning from Australia.
Oh my goodness. Good morning. Good morning. It's so crazy to think it is 7 p.m. here in central Illinois. So if you haven't already, leave a comment and tell us where you're tuning in from. Australia. Early in the morning there, huh?
And then Tanya and Terry say they'll try to stamp along, but sometimes you're a little too fast.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry. I try to go slow or give you a chance to catch up. But if I am going too fast, you can just pause and put it aside and finish later. You also can watch the replay. All the cards that we're making tonight, you'll be able to watch the replay, and then you have the luxury of pausing and working at your own pace. So I love that there's that option too. Well, I think we should just go ahead and jump right in and get started, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I I was kind of busy working on my extra samples, and so I didn't get a chance to mount my stamps. So I'm going to do that really quick. I love these rubber are my favorite kind of stamps. We also have photopolymer stamps from Stampin' Up, but I like the rubber ones because I feel like you get a better impression with the rubber stamps. I think that I'm using every single one of the stamps in this set tonight, so I'm just going to get them all out. And I've got the stickers already put on them that are super, super sticky. And so I'm going to bring in my bucket of blacks. Do you guys have a bucket of blacks, or do you keep yours in a little, maybe a little bit nicer of a container? We have a really great storage box for the blocks as well. But I'm always using them, so they never they never get put all the way away. We have clear blocks in different sizes, and one thing that I love about Stampin' Up! Blocks is the nice thick size of the block, and then the sort of rounded edge with the ergonomic grip. So these are really great blocks if you're using Stampin' Up! Stamps or other stamps, whatever stamps you got at home. I love having multiples in the different sizes so that I can use my entire stamp set all at the same time. But if you're stamping at home maybe, or just getting started, you might only have a couple blocks, and so that's not a problem at all. You can clean your stamps, and then you can use the same block for multiple different images. Trying to find all the right sizes here for all these stamps.
As you go saying, they have containers for their blocks. A plastic container, a silverware tray.
Ooh, a silverware tray. That's a good idea.
People are really excited to catch you live.
Oh, I'm so glad. Normally on Thursday nights, we do Thursday night stamp therapy. However, I wanted to get this class in before the end of the month because tomorrow is when the new July through December mini catalog starts. And I know that you guys are going to be very eager to see new stuff starting tomorrow. And so I thought, I got to get this in one last time before we start doing Christmas and fall. I have to show you. I actually intended to do this class a while ago. This is the January through June catalog, and today is the very last day for this catalog. So if there's anything you want on the last chance list, you better make sure you skip over to my online store and get it before it's gone. But this Stamp Set Wildlife Wonder first came out in this catalog, the January through June catalog, and so I had intended to do this class a couple months ago, and the spring just got crazy, and I didn't get the cards designed until now. So this stamp set is still relatively new. Leave a comment and let us know if you have this one. This was one that Thomas picked out for free in his starter kit when he joined as a demonstrator in February, but he actually has not had a chance to ink it up yet, so we're hoping that he can do that soon. This stamp set did carry over the Wildlife Wonder into the annual catalog though, so if you don't have this yet, it is still available and will continue to be at least for the next year or so. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Now, when I put the card kits together with my helper Shar, we tried to put them in the order in which we're going to do the cards, but we had one little mix-up because the first card and the last card both use Sahara sand as the card base. So if you're following along with the card kit, we're just going to do a little shuffle. We're going to bring the back card to the front and the front card to the back, and this is the order that we're going to do the cards in as we stamp tonight. You want to make sure you have your paper trimmer ready to go because we're going to cut the designer paper as we go, and some of the cards, 4 of the cards, use the linen thread, and so I included about, I think, 32, 37 inches. I don't remember. What we're going to do is we're going to cut it into 4ths. So we're going to fold it over and find the halfway mark, and then we're going to fold it in half again so that we have 4 equal pieces, and then it won't matter if we have exactly 9 inches or 10 inches or whatever. We'll have just what we need. And I think I cut enough so that the linen thread that you're getting in the card kit is much more than you need, just to make sure you have enough. So I'm starting by cutting that linen thread into 4 pieces. And again, they're approximately 9 to 10 inches, I think. I'm measuring here. Yeah, these look like they're all 10 inches. So on all the cards that we're doing tonight with the linen thread, 9 to 10 inches will be enough for you. All right, so the first card that we're going to make is the bear card, You Mean So Much. Let's take a look really quick. I've got a sample of the card here. I love the way this turned out. This bear is one of our I can't think of the name of the stamp set. Distinctive stamp sets. I just love the detail that you get in that stamped image. So let's cut our designer paper first. We're going to use this brown plaid, and then the other one we're going to use is the Sahara Sand. Almost looks like a woven pattern. So those are the two pieces that we're going to start with our paper cutter, and let's bring that in and cut those pieces. So the first piece, that background, is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I am going to be providing measurements as we're cutting tonight, but I will not be providing them in the video description this time. So for the online class, if you want to have the pictures and the measurements and all the instructions, you can get the PDF. Which has everything all printed and ready to go for you. So this piece here is 4 inches by 5 1/4. We're going to set those aside so we can use them for another project. The next piece out of this Sahara Sand pattern is going to be 2 inches by 4 inches. Let me double check. Yep, 2 inches by 4. So 2 inches first. Set this aside. We're definitely going to be using that for another card. And then 4 inches. And those are the 2 designer paper pieces that we need. So I'm going to set my trimmer down below. Let's go ahead and review the other pieces that are in the card kit. Our card base for this card is Sahara Sand. It's 5 1/2 inches by 8 1/2 inches. Scored at 4 1/4. I always score those cardstock pieces for you in the card kits. I included a piece of very vanilla cardstock for the inside. This one is 4 by 5 1/4. Then we have a smaller piece that is 2 1/2 inches by 3 1/2 inches. And a piece of Cajun Craze that's 3/4 by 4 1/4. Now in this card kit, we're going to do a lot of tearing to add texture. We're also going to do another technique where we distress the edges of the cardstock with scissors. I really like these for these 2 techniques because they do not require special equipment. So actually in tonight's cards, we are not using any die cuts or punching. So these cards are very easy to duplicate, very perfect for beginners or just busy card makers. I love these designs, and I think that you will as well. So let's start by stamping. We're going to stamp our bear first using Early Espresso ink. In fact, there are 3 ink colors that we'll be using tonight: Early Espresso, Sahara Sand, and Cajun Craze. And as I was writing the instructions, I realized that we actually are not using Cajun Craze that much for this card kit. So really the big colors that we're using are the 2 browns, the Sahara Sand and the Early Espresso. Cajun Craze is one of my favorite though, so if you did get that ink pad for this class, you won't regret having it. I think it's just such a pretty color, especially for fall. And it really, one of the reasons I love it so much, I think, is because it reminds me of my redheads. All their beautiful hair is more of like a Cajun Craze. So Tom's got that red hair, and my husband Jim and my daughter Anna, that's more their hair color than orange or, you know, than actual like real red. Look at that bear. Isn't it so pretty? We're going to keep this out and we're going to stamp our sentiment while we have our ink pad out. This is going to go in the center of the Cajun Craze cardstock right there. I just re-inked my ink pad recently because it was getting kind of dry. Did you know you can do that? We have little ink refill bottles that are $4 and you can freshen up your pad. So if your ink is looking kind of dry and, you know, maybe not the nice bright color you're used to, it probably needs to be freshened up with a little ink re-inker. I do recommend, if you're buying ink pads, that you get the re-inkers at the same time, so then you have the refills to freshen up that pad, especially for the in colors, because those are only around for 2 years. And so if you don't get the re-inker right away, then it might not be available when you go to get it a year or 2 later. Let's do some stamping on the inside. I'm going to stamp the owl in Sahara Sand down here in the corner. And this stamp set, I think, is really great for like a collage and for layering. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this this flower image. I don't know if that's grass or flower, but I'm going to stamp that in Early Espresso down there in the corner. Just adding a little bit of image on the inside. I'm really trying to make an effort lately to decorate the inside of my cards. So let's start with gluing things down. I'm using the Stampin' Seal. This is my adhesive of choice for simple layers. We'll also be using some tear and tape tonight and some Stampin' Dimensionals. That's another one I use a lot of. What do you got in the comments there, Tom?
Someone's asking, what is this DSP?
This is the He's the Man DSP designer paper. This is an annual catalog, and it's a 12 by 12 one that includes all the die cuts as well as the patterns that we're using. Oops, didn't mean to shake the camera there. So He's the Man DSP, it's 159068. I'm pretty sure in the video description I have a link of all the things that I'm using tonight. Did you say yes?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good. Can you copy and paste the He's the Man and put it in the live chat from the shopping list?
And then someone was talking about that she loves the variety of all the videos with the masculine cards.
The variety of the video with the masculine cards?
Yeah, it is nice to have more variety now to make cards for men.
Yes, we have an amazing selection of new stamp sets in the annual catalog that are so great for making masculine cards. So tonight I'm showing the Wildlife Wonder, and like I said, I do have some alternative samples using Brewed for You, and in some cases the samples with the He's the Man designer paper. So I hope that I am inspiring you and that you're just using whatever you have at home, because you don't need a new stamp set. I know you have plenty.
Yeah, Janice is saying that she's using the tire paper instead of the designer paper.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I would love for you guys to share the cards that you're making tonight, especially if you're using alternative stamp sets. Share those cards and show pictures in Julie's Stamping Spot Share and Connect group on Facebook so that we can see your version of these cards. All right, here's the part where we're going to do some distressing. This might be scary that I'm opening up my scissors this way. Stampin' Up! Used to sell a distressing tool, oh my gosh, years and years ago, and it did the same kind of thing. So if you have something similar, you can definitely use that. But essentially, we're going to open up and use the blade of our scissors to rough up and give some texture to the edges of this cardstock. So you want to make sure that you're going away from you so you don't accidentally cut yourself. That would be really terrible. I say go away from you and then I immediately go towards myself. So there's really not a right or wrong way. If you nick the paper, that's okay, because the idea is just to sort of add that that distressing and just sort of rough up this cardstock a little bit. So you can keep going as long as you want. You can skip this step if you don't like the way that looks. Another way that people add distressing to cardstock, and personally I'm not a fan of this, is sponging around the edges. So if you like sponging, you can sponge a little color to kind of give that a little more texture. Now, when you use the scissors, you're essentially like shaving off little pieces of the cardstock. So if you've got one of those desk vacuums, remember this one that Mom gave me, you can just turn that on and clean this up really quickly. Oh yeah. If you don't have a dust vacuum like that, something like a wet wipe or something like that helps you to get rid of all that dusty paper particles really quickly. You guys loving that dust vacuum?
My friend's saying it kind of looks like canvas when you rough up the edges.
Yeah, I think so.
Sponge up the corners too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the other way that you can distress without spending any money on special tools is simply tearing. And so like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of that in the class tonight. Now, I always grip with one hand and then use the other hand and tear toward me to get that nice rough edge in front. So I'm going to hold it and then just tear it towards me. I like doing kind of different angles and trying to, get a little more shape on the sides there. So I'm going to tear both edges of that Cajun Craze cardstock, and we're going to add these pieces to the card. Now this, I actually want it to be a little bit shorter, so I'm going to tear some more. You want the Cajun Craze piece to be shorter than the the piece with the image so that you create some depth and different sizes there. We're going to use one of those pieces of linen thread, so go ahead and bring one in. For this card, I'm just going to do some loopy loops on the back, and we're going to glue this down. Now sometimes I use a little bit of the Stampin' Seal on the back to hold the linen thread. Sometimes I use a piece of tear and tape. You guys have seen me do that before. So I'll probably be doing both methods tonight just to hold that thread in place. So just a couple loops. It's better if they're not exactly perfect, because I think it's nice to have, especially with sort of this rustic feel, to have something that's a little bit off and not perfectly round and straight. I'm going to use 3 Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of that 1, 2, 3, and then also some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of our bear.
Yeah, now people are saying they like the vacuum. Beck Woody says she has a ladybug vacuum.
What did you call it?
A ladybug vacuum?
Oh, a ladybug. That's right. So fun. Mom found that on Amazon if you don't have one yet. This one is called a Tihu, but I've seen it under other names. It's essentially the same thing. I think it works really well for keyboards as well, you know, like computer keyboards. So this is then going to go toward the top, centering. I'm having extra room of designer paper down here because the sentiment is going to go there. So ultimately, when they're both on the card, I want there to kind of be the same amount of designer paper showing on the top and the bottom. I'm overlapping just a little bit, not where the Stampin' Dimensionals are though. And here is our finished card. Look at that, it almost looks exactly the same. Oh, I really love this card layout. On the inside then we've got just that little bit of stamping to dress it up. And you have envelopes, if you got your card kit, you have envelopes to match. So let's just go ahead and do the same kind of stamping on our envelope. We'll add the owl and that flower in the darker color. So this is just matching exactly the inside, and we have our coordinating envelope there. Do you guys want to see an alternative? Here's one I did with the Brood for You, and look at that. I just changed the direction of the card and made it landscape instead, but I'm using exactly the same pieces, some additional cardstock to stamp and die cut those beer steins. I've got one more sample.
Kathy's saying that she will be making a second set of cards to keep on hand because she doesn't usually keep masculine cards on hand.
I know, what a great idea. I feel like I'm always needing some masculine cards, just like sympathy cards. I'm always needing sympathy cards too. So here is another version that I did. In this one, I used die cuts from the He's the Man designer paper. So I didn't do any stamping on this one, but I did use the same pieces. So instead of a sentiment, I used that to make a little banner back there. I still did rough up the edges and just sort of created a collage with those die cut pieces. So no matter what you're using, if it's Wildlife Wonder, Brood for You, He's the Man, whatever stamp set you have at home, I hope that you're inspired by this card layout and that you'll give it a try at home. Are you guys ready for card number 2? Let's keep chugging along. Okay.
What color did you use for the beer?
For the beer, that's a great question. I used crushed curry. So early espresso and crushed curry. There's some other cards coming up with the Brood for You in which I used Cajun Craze because that was the color here. I was thinking like a Killian's, you know, Irish red beer. I wanted to show you, but I've oh, here it is. I was gonna say I misplaced it. Here is the Brood for You bundle. This is in the annual catalog. It's a photopolymer stamp set. And then it has coordinating dies that die cut some of those images. So you've got some different beer glasses and then, a growler. I think that's what this is called. And also some really great sentiments. I owe you one or several. Another round for your birthday and oh, ale, yes. Mom and I recently featured the Brood for You bundle and Sunday stamping with Susan and Julie video. So make sure to check that out. We'll add the link to the video description when we're all done. And throughout tonight's video, I'll be showing you some more samples with the Brood for You bundle. So hopefully you will be inspired by that. If you're looking for a new stamp set to make masculine cards with, this is a really great one, the Brood for You. And you can get that in my online store at juliedavison.com/shop.
Sharon's asking, do you use card layouts?
I love card layouts, and I'm often sketching card layouts myself based on catalog samples or things that I see online. I don't use card layouts from like another source necessarily. I don't have I don't have a source for card layouts, but I have been thinking about, I made these. Do you guys remember these? Oh my gosh, these are a few years old. I made these little books, pocket full of sketches. Is there a date on here? I don't know that there is. No. Where I made layouts and then I had card samples and measurements. And this was with my digital studio. Do you guys remember? That was, oh my gosh, it had to be like 15 years ago, maybe. And then I came out with a second one before my digital studio was discontinued. And so I've been really thinking about these layout books and coming out with something similar. So if this is something that would interest you, a card layout book with examples and measurements, then please let me know. Unfortunately, I know you're going to ask, I do not have any more. I am completely sold out of the pocket full of sketches. And so this is not something that I have available to offer to you currently, but it is something that I've been thinking about. It's kind of on the back burner right now, but I would love your feedback. If you're interested in a pocket full of sketches or card layout card, recipe card, something like that, leave a comment and let me know. I'd love your feedback on that because definitely card sketches are something that I use a lot. And every month I have a card layout challenge for my team where I create a new card layout and then they create cards using the same measurements or inspired by that card layout. And we draw for a prize every week, which we're getting ready to do again.
Margaret's saying the sound is a little jumpy.
Oh no. It might be because I'm moving around. I'll try to be still. And I apologize for any jumpy sounds. Okay, this is bad news. I am realizing that I think our card kit is missing a piece. Oh no. I'm using one of the card kits that we put together and it's missing a piece. And so I'm guessing that they're all missing a piece, and I do greatly apologize for that if you got a card kit. So what you're going to need is a second piece of Very Vanilla. So let's get out our paper trimmer. We're going to cut the designer paper for this card, and we're also going to cut a second piece of Very Vanilla. And I do apologize if you got the card kit at home. If your card kit has not been mailed, I'll make sure to put in an extra piece of that Very Vanilla cardstock so that you have it. And I apologize for everyone who already received their card kit. Okay, so let me grab. Oh. I went to grab for my scraps and look what I found. The pile of extra card pieces. Oh my gosh, that should have been our hint that we were not doing something right. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry. This one is, let's see, the Very Vanilla, you need two of them, are 3 1/4 by 4.5 inches. Okay, so we're going to have one for the front and then one for the inside piece as well. For the designer paper, we're going to make this one 3 inches by 4 1/4. So let's go ahead and cut that in half at 3 inches. Now this is the brown check pattern. We had another one on the last card that was a brown plaid, and those patterns are very similar. You could probably use them interchangeably, but for this one, I'm using those brown checks. So that's 3 inches by 4 1/4. And then I also want a little strip of the Cajun Craze stripes. And this one is going to be a 1/2 inch by 2.5 inches. Just a tiny little piece for just a little accent of that Cajun Craze color. Okay. So we got our designer paper pieces. We got our Very Vanilla pieces. Let me tell you the measurements of the other pieces for this card. Our early espresso cardstock is 3.5 inches by 4 3/4. And we have a piece of Sahara sand that is 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. and a piece of Very Vanilla that is 1 1/4 by 2 1/2. Your Cajun Craze cardstock is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, but I scored it a little differently than normal. This is scored at 2 1/8 inch, and you want to use a bone folder here because we're going to make a gatefold. So I'm going to grab that bone folder and we're going to fold over the other side to meet the piece in the middle, and then use the bone folder to get a nice good crease to create our gatefold card base.
You're saying your voice is still a little staticky.
I'm so sorry, I don't know. I think I am kind of moving around. I'll try to be like I was bending over, and you know, the phone, and that's where the microphone is, right in front of me. So if I'm shifting in my seat at all, I think it makes it sound like I'm, you know, moving, or the sound is bad. So I'll try to be still. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay.
Terry Biggs was asking, what was Cajun Craze DSP size?
This one is 1/2 inch by 2 1/2. So just a little strip we're gonna use as an accent. Let's do our stamping. We're going to get those smaller pieces and 1 piece of the Very Vanilla, and we're stamping with Early Espresso. For this card, we're going to do the owl, which we already inked up in Sahara Sand, and the flower. So let's just grab our cleaner really quick and we'll get these cleaned up so that we can change ink colors. It's not that big of a deal to go from light to dark, but it is a bigger deal to go from dark to light. So we're just going to give those stamps a quick clean with the Stampin' Chamois. And we're going to be stamping the owl toward the top of the Sahara Sand cardstock. The sentiment on this card says, "For all the great things you do," and that is going to be toward the left side of the Very Vanilla cardstock. And then on the inside, in the corner, a note of thanks. And we'll add the grass or flowers or whatever this is in Sahara Sand. So that's the stamping for this card. We can go ahead and start putting things together. First thing, we're going to layer the larger Very Vanilla onto Early Espresso. This is going to be the inside card. Oh man, I just did a little smear. Let me see if I can find. It's looking for my sand eraser, but I don't see it.
Well, it says, "Hi Julie, I got my kit today. I'm running late, so I'm going to watch and put together later."
That sounds good. You'll have the luxury of pausing to catch up if I'm going too fast. And hopefully I'm not going too fast. I've been trying to go at a reasonable pace. Well, I can't find my sand eraser. I'll look for it later and I'll try to erase that little smudge. It's going to drive me crazy. We're moving on, and we're going to add the designer paper to the other Very Vanilla cardstock. Now, I purposely made the Very Vanilla pieces exactly the same size so that you wouldn't get confused about which one was for which. So the Very Vanilla is the same size, and one's going to go designer paper on top, and the other one is going to have Early Espresso on the back. For the front piece, we're going to add our sentiment with regular adhesive, kind of toward the center, with just about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. We're going to add our designer paper, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a, I feel feel like that's backwards, but a little bit of an angle. So it's going to kind of go under here. And for our owl, we're going to add a torn edge at the bottom. So I'm just going to kind of tear. Love having that ridge that's kind of bumpy and big. So add a lot of shape to your card when you're tearing. Make sure you kind of give it a little shape. Then I'm going to make the loopy loops again, and we're going to kind of tuck this underneath the owl. So let's use some of that Stampin' Seal to glue it down, and then some Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere it to the card. It's overlapping the Very Vanilla and the designer paper. Always fuss too much. All right, there's our finished card. I felt like it was a little bit naked though, and so this is where we're bringing in that rustic metallic dot. However, oh, there it is. I put these separately in a little plastic cello bag with the linen thread so that they wouldn't get lost. I was afraid if I put them inside the envelope with the card pieces that you would lose it when you took the card pieces out. I think that's better. Just one right there. Let's put that in there so we don't lose it. Okay, so that's the front of our card. We have a note of thanks for the inside. This card is a pocket card. Okay, so we made our little gatefolds with the cardstocks meeting in the center. And now we want to use some tear and tape to glue down one side to create a pocket. So with the tear and tape, we're going to add a little piece to either side, just one side. Well, just one, so one side, not both sides, but both ends of the one side. And you want to put it pretty close to the edges so that the card has room to move in and out. Okay, so we've created a pocket here and the card will be able to slide in and out. So this is perfect if you want to include like a little gift card or, you know, tickets or money or a check or something like that. You can have, open it up and you can have your message in there as well as anything else that you want to tuck into the pocket. Now for the front of the card, we're going to close that and we're going to add that front piece to the top flap. And because we don't want to glue the card closed, we want to make sure that we only put adhesive on the top side, the top of the front piece. Oh, look at this tear and tape. That's all twisted up. I have another roll floating around here somewhere. Let's just grab a new one out. Look at that fresh roll. Ooh! It's like fresh plates for the Stampin' Cut and Die machine. This is a treat. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? You guys! Do you see what I did? I put the tear and tape on the wrong end. I whispered there. I put it on the wrong end. I put it on the bottom instead of the top. So now I'm just gluing the card closed. Well, I guess it could still work. And then this would, no, it wouldn't work because it would cover up the card inside. Okay, so I'm tearing the tear and tape off. Oh my goodness. What a mistake, man. At least I caught it before I put it on the card.
Sure.
Oh, I've almost got it off. You know me, I'm a master tear Pteropartosaurus. I've been watching all the I've been watching all the replays of, or not the replays, all the old Jurassic Park movies because I want to see the new one. So I just got dinosaurs on the brain. I'm a Pteropartosaurus.
No, Kathy's saying she did the same thing with the tape.
Oh no! I'm so sorry if you were following my direction. I thought I was putting it on the right side. So you want to put it on the back of the top up here. I got so distracted and turned around with the new tear and tape that I wasn't paying attention. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I hope that it came off as easy for you as it did for me. This is going to go on the top. We're just centering it on the card. Sometimes I find it easier to like turn it over and push down. Okay, so there's our card. For all the great things that you do, a note of thanks. So room to write a message and a little pocket in case you want to put a little something besides a note of thanks in there. For our envelope, we should match it up again. So let's do another owl in the corner. I always love to stamp the envelope to match. I don't do it nearly enough, but whenever we have these card classes and there's an envelope right there, then I always think about it. Okay, let's take a look at the other samples. So this one was using Wildlife Wonder, but I have another sample using the Brood for You. And I made up another sample using the He's the Man designer paper. Again, I used only die cuts from the He's the Man designer paper. So I feel like it looks a little scattered, and I ended up not using the designer paper strip and the vanilla, but I added the die cut tree, and I did get a little Cajun craze in there with the arrow. Leave a comment. Let me know which one you guys are liking. Do you like the Wildlife Wonder, the Brood for You?
Should I start a poll?
Sure, we could start a poll. I'm gonna, while you're doing that, clean up my desk just a smidge.
What are the options?
Wildlife Wonder, Brood for You, and then the He's All That. Oh, that's gonna still be, just trying to figure out if I need to clean any of my stamps. This might be a good one. Oh, let's see what we're doing next. Ooh, this is a good one. This is a good one. We'll keep the poll open, but I'm gonna clear our samples here. So leave a comment and let us know which of those options you prefer. Our next card, what did I do with the, oh, right here. Oh my goodness. Our next card is the one with the black card base. We're going to be using the diamond designer paper on this card, so make sure you get that out. And we will be cutting that with the paper trimmer. So let's get the paper trimmer. Now for this one, I am going to, I'm gonna do some cutting for 2 cards so that I can make the He's All That card at the same time as the Wildlife Wonder. So let's see, for this designer paper, we need 2 pieces that are 1 by 3.5 inches. I'm going to do 3.5, and then 1. You know what? I just thought I think it'll be okay. I was worried that this wasn't going to be enough for the card that we need it for, but I think this is the only card we need it for, so we're good. Okay, so for 1 card, you just need 2. I'm going to make 2 cards, so I've got 4 cut. The other pieces you need for this card, we have the black card base that's 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, a 4-inch by 5 1/4 very vanilla, and then 2 pieces that are 2 1/4 by 3 1/2 inches, and the designer paper. So one of these we're going to stamp and cut out, and the other one is going to be for the card. So let's do our stamping. We're going to use the wolf for this card, and because we're going to color with Stampin' Blends, we'll want to use the Memento Black ink pad. I don't think we have a Sahara Sand Stampin' Blend, so I'm using Crumb Cake, which is a similar color. It's got a little bit more red than the Sahara Sand, but it'll work for what we're doing. So we're gonna stamp that wolf in, we're gonna stamp in black ink, and actually we're going to stamp again on the other one in about the same place. This is going to help us with our placement. We're going to end up covering this up, but it will help us when we place the grass that we're stamping. Let's do the other stamping on the front. The greeting for this card is "To a Great Guy." And one thing I'm doing is I'm making sure that my stamp is squared up to the bottom of the block. Sometimes my stickers aren't on straight, and it's really hard to know where the sticker and the stamp are if they don't line up. So when I mount my stamps on the block, I try to make sure that the stamp is parallel to the bottom of the block so that I can line up the bottom of the block instead of worrying about the sticker. Not terrible, but I think I actually want to do the words first, and then it will help me better place the wolf. So if you stamped the wolf first and you don't like it, you can turn it over and do it again. Stamp the sentiment first and then the wolf. And then we've got our other one here, which we're going to color and then cut out. So let's do that next. The only thing on this one we're going to color is the log that the wolf is on. So I always, when I use my Stampin' Blends, I like to start with the light color and then add some shading with the dark color. So while I'm coloring, Thomas, what were the results of our poll?
People preferred Wildlife Wonder. It wasn't even close.
You know what? I do too. I really love this stamp set. I just love the images, and even though you can substitute other images in the cards that I'm sharing tonight, you know, whether you have other stamps at home, I designed the cards using the Wildlife Wonder set. So I think that it definitely showcases that stamp set the best. All right, I'm going to do a little fussy cutting. The Wildlife Wonder stamp set does not have coordinating dies, so if you like the look of cutout images, you can use your scissors to hand cut or fussy cut, as we commonly say. One way that I like to do that is to just hold my scissors kind of steady and use the other hand to move the cardstock around. That helps me get a nice sort of smooth edge all the way around the image. Apparently I can't talk and cut at the same time. not a talent that I possess. Oh, we are going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to add this over the top of the image. But before we do that, I want to stamp some of the grass. And so one reason I wanted you to stamp this was to know where to put the grass. We're going to stamp this in Sahara Sand. And you want one peeking over each of the shoulders of the wolf. And you can stamp over that image because we're going to cover it up with this one. And so that just helps us to know exactly where to place the image when we're stamping. I don't know, what is that? Flowers? Grass? Both?
Yeah, it looks like grass.
Prairie grass, right?
Prairie grass, yeah.
This is going to go on with Stampin' Dimensionals right over the top of the other wolf. I just love the way that image pops, especially the color. So on this card, we don't really have a lot of color, right? We've got black and vanilla, and then a little bit of Sahara sand in the designer paper, as well as in the coloring of the log and the grass behind it. Let's add a wolf on our envelope. Simple stamping tonight on the envelopes, but if you want, you can dress them up. We've done this before with embossed edges, or with, you know, designer paper on the flaps. I sort of like a simple stamping on the inside. All right, what did I do on the inside? Speaking of insides, for the inside of our card, I stamped, and since we're using black here, we're gonna do this one, which says, "You mean so much to me." I need to give that a quick clean because I used early espresso on that. So let's do this. "You mean so much to me." And I'm also going to clean that grass because we're going to stamp it in black on the inside. There is a stamp in this set. It's kind of a long watercolor shape, and this is going to be in Sahara sand. It's sort of like the ground. So we're going to do this at the bottom. Create like a little scene. And then our black grass slash flower slash I'm not sure what it is. Oh, let's do some gluing down. We're going to fold our card base in half and add the inside to the inside of the card. Next up for the front, I think it's easiest to add the centerpiece first. But whenever I'm layering things like this, I kind of like place it very gently, but I don't push down yet so that I can pull it back up or move it just a little bit. So I want to add these other pieces of designer paper before I push down on it to make sure that I like the spacing. I think I might need to adjust it down. See how I have a lot of space here and not as much space here. So I'm just going to move that down a little bit. And because I didn't push down, I can just lift that up. It started sticking, right, a little bit, but I'm being very gentle with it, and it's not totally adhered to the cardstock yet. Make my little tweaks. Move that a little bit, and then once I've got it where I want it to go, then I'm going to give it a good push and just sort of lock that in place. And there is our Wildlife Wonder card. To a great guy, you mean so much to me. The Brood for You is an OL, yes, card. I die cut the beer mug and added some of the froth there at the top. This was one I didn't yet have a chance to create with the He's the Man, or what is it? He's all that?
Yeah, he's all that. I really like the contrast.
He's the man.
Like black and white versus the Sahara sand and the red color.
Mm-hmm. This is Crushed Curry again with the, yeah, the Brood for You. So let's do one really quick because this is such a fast card. Let's do one with the He's the Man. I keep wanting to call it something else. Oh, I just noticed a typo in the directions. It says He's the Ban with a B instead of an M. Whoops. Okay, we're gonna do this in the middle, and then I cut those designer paper pieces. This is like, we're doing speed version of this card. I'm trying to go slow. You guys will see what fast really looks like. Okay, I've got some different die cuts. Boop, 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 bringing them in. I really love this one too. Best Dad Award. Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, this is a wonderful card. She really likes it as well.
This layout is this funny with with the antlers.
Absurd.
This card layout is one that I made, oh gosh, a few months ago. It was one that was part of a bundle focus. And I just loved it so much that I wanted to come back and do it again. Oh, so many different options with this He's the Man or Ban or whatever designer paper. I kind of like this one. It is a little like simple to have the diamond on there. Oh, that wasn't straight. That's what happens when I rush. What else do we have over here?
Molly says she's jealous of your big bucket of blocks.
Oh, it has been a slow accumulation. I didn't get them all at once. Okay, I don't know. What do you think? I kind of like this Cheers to All Your Years.
Yeah, versus the other symbol. I like that one too.
Yeah, I don't know. The diamond kind of goes with the diamond in the paper. But then I feel like we have this big empty space. I don't know. You know what? I'm just going to leave it right now, and maybe I'll come back to it later. Lots of different options. And that's what I love about this designer paper, is that there are so many different options to mix and match. I used a lot of the travel one on another card, but like this would be a fun one to, you know, have some, you know, some mix and match with the words. Okay, let's move on to another card. Slide that. Boop a doop. Such a good one. That was card number 3. I feel like we are just moving right along in our card making tonight. Our next one is the brown card base. Oh, this is why I should use grid paper. I know you guys are going to yell at me. I don't use grid paper a lot. I don't know why. I just feel like in the video it looks cluttered, and so I always don't use it in my videos. All right, our next card. Oh, I love this one. This is a note of thanks, and we're going to use the bear again. I'm not going to lie. The bear is my favorite stamp in this set. I just love the detail in this stamped image. For this card, we're going to use some more of the Cajun Craze stripe. So let's get that out. And let's cut this one. We're going to do a 2" by 5. 2 by 5. And then I also want a little bit for the inside. Let's see. That's not going to be short enough. We're going to do a 1/2" by 2.5. I probably had, yep, there it is. I already had one that I could have cut from. If you saved this piece from earlier, then you can cut this piece from it. I just cut a new one because I wasn't paying attention. And then you can find a little scrap of that Sahara sand pattern. This was a good one. And this one is going to be 1/4" by 2 inches. So this is skinny little mini. This is going to be, again, just for the inside. Just, we're going to dress it up a little bit with some designer paper. So just little scraps there. All right. Our other measurements for this card, besides the designer paper, we have 5.5 by 8.5 early espresso card. I dropped something. I think it was this one. Then we have 4 inches by 5 1/4, very vanilla. our layered pieces for the main focal image. 3 by 3.5 inches very vanilla, and 3 1/4 by 3 3/4 Sahara sand. And our last piece is 1 1/4 by 2 1/4 Sahara sand. This is going to be for the sentiment. Okay, let's start with our stamping. We're going to stamp the bear on this big piece. This one we're also going to incorporate that little ground, for lack of a better word. That's going to go on the bottom. And we're going to do the bear in early espresso on top. Oh, I just love that image. Love it, love it, love it. The outside sentiment is going to say a note of thanks, and that's going to go on the Sahara sand cardstock. I am doing it tall ways so I can tear the bottom off. And then this is a horizontal card, so our inside piece is going to be horizontal or landscape, and we're going to stamp for all the great things you do. This is going to be in the corner. We're going to do a little more stamping and add that designer paper scraps to this image. So first, hope that was already in Sahara sand. It was not. Oh, I didn't clean it. It was in basic black, or the memento black. Okay, no worries. We are going to turn it over and go on the other side. For all the great things you do in early espresso, and there we go. See, this one looks dirty. Ugh, that one's Sahara sand. Now we're gonna layer our designer paper. I just really love the way this looked. We're first going to cut a slight angle on both of them, actually. And then we're going to glue them down, starting with the larger Cajun Craze piece. And adding the smaller one overlapping on the bottom.
Someone said, Terry Biggs said she'll watch the replay because she only got 2 made so far.
Oh,
She said thanks.
am I going too fast?
Oh, Rose is asking what size the DSP strips are.
The Cajun Craze one for the inside is 1/2 inch by 2.5 inches. And the little Sahara sand one is 1/4 inch by 2 inches. They're just little skinny scraps. This is going to go on the inside of the early espresso cardstock. And on the front, we're going to add the large Cajun Craze to the bottom of the card. I'm just putting this sort of equidistant from the edges. That's not really equidistant. Pteropartosaurus. I'm an omnivore. Okay. Next, I'm going to layer the stamped bear onto Sahara sand cardstock. And we're gonna do, guess what? Tearing. We're gonna do a little tearing on our sentiment. This is how this card's gonna come together, but let's bring in a little piece of twine. And with the twine, we're going to do a figure 8. This This is sort of a variation on the loop-de-loop. It's a loop-de-loop to straight edge. So when you're doing this at home, if you are holding it in your fingers, you can kind of loop it back onto itself and then loop it again. I'm using my finger to kind of create the loop and then let it go. So you sort of get this figure 8. It's kind of like tying a bow, except nothing's tied in the middle. And this is one that I really love to use our little tear and tape trick on. So after you create your little figure 8, you can place it behind your cardstock and use the tear and tape to hold it in place. Now, if this takes too many fingers for you, then using a little bit of snail on the back is gonna help you to hold it in place the same way. So tear and tape is a little fussier to try to do that trick with. I like it because I feel like it holds it in place better rather than slipping, but it is a little tricky to do with 2 hands. I'm using Stampin' Dimensionals, just tearing apart my edges here for the back of the greeting. And I also want to put the bear on Stampin' Dimensionals as well. When I get to the end of the sheet, I just tear apart and use those edges. You want to use every last piece of your Stampin' Dimensionals. Don't throw it out when there's still something left. I'm going to add a little angle here. If you don't like the angle, you can make it straight. It's fine. And then we're going to layer this on. The note of thanks is going to be straight on the corner. Now, I don't really want to have dimensionals overlapping dimensionals. So I'm just going to have dimensionals on the side, and that will rest on top of the area that already has Stampin' Dimensionals, if that makes sense. Kind of overlapping the designer paper a little bit and then mostly having it over. And then also making sure I leave about 1/4 inch of a space where you can still see that designer paper on the side. I really love the way this card turned out, especially the inside. I think the inside is probably my favorite of all the cards that we're making tonight. A note of thanks for all the great things you do. Oh, there's so much glue. I'm gonna take just a second to clean. We're gonna clean the desk really quick of all these adhesive bits.
Judy and Donna said they really like this card. And want it.
Remind me to ask at the end. So I always forget, I have lately anyway, to ask which one is your favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first one might be my favorite. I don't know. We haven't done the last card yet. The last card is kind of our fun fold. I probably should not be wiping the desk with my arms, but there it is. Okay, so this was the Wildlife Wonder version. Let me bring in the Brood for You version. We got the oh yes with a pair of mugs, another round for your birthday. So you can see this card layout will work well with other images, not just Wildlife Wonder. Although I'm sure if we took another poll, you guys would still like this card better. I don't have one made with the He's All That designer paper. And I think I am not going to fuss with that. You guys kind of get the idea. You can substitute the different die cuts for the images that we're using. But I will take a little break to share with you some more cards using the Brood for You stamp set. Like I said, Mom and I did feature this one in Sunday Stamping with Susan and Julie recently. So if you haven't seen that, make sure to check it out. In the video, I shared this card using that brick and mortar embossing folder. Really simple card, but I just love the way you can see that wall on the inside and the outside. Here's another one I cased from the catalog using He's All That instead of the designer paper that they used. Love these colors, again with the crushed curry, Cajun craze, early espresso, and very vanilla. some of these are card swaps. This one is, oh no, it doesn't have a name. There's not a name on the inside either. I feel terrible that I can't give credit for that one. This one is by Cindy Malone. I love how she inked up the embossing folder to add detail to the brick and mortar embossing folder and the wood grain. Isn't that just awesome? Here's a fun one from Brenda Vason. I think last time I said that she used the clear embossing powder, but she actually used packing tape, right? Clear tape to add a glossy texture to the beer images that she die cut. I really love the colors on this one. Crushed Curry and Night of Navy. Oh, yes. This one's from Kay Cogbill. This is a fun one from Janet Casto. This is a step panel card. We recently did this one for a Sunday, not a Sunday stamping, a project playback video. And so this is using the He's the Man designer paper, same paper we've been using tonight, along with that Brewed For You bundle, little piece on the back that you can write your message on. All right, the rest of the cards, I'm still going to get into these though. The rest of the cards use the He's the Man designer paper. So if you're not loving the wildlife or the beer, you can create cards using the He's the Man designer paper. This one has the strips over here of designer paper and the die cut. You're flipping awesome. Here's one that uses the He's All That bundle with the stamp set and coordinating dies. This one's from not Don Olszewski. This one's from Mary McNeely. This one is from Don Olszewski, very similar. And she used that stamp set and coordinating die set. To a Man Who Does Everything. This one's from Joyce Farraco. Here's a card swap from Deneen Eaton, a newer team member. I love that fun fold. It opens up on the bottom, and then here on the top, we've got some die cuts. You're a Classic in the Car from the He's the Man designer paper with that gorgeous Cajun Craze classic cars back there. Here's one that I made. This is a tuck fold card. And it tucks underneath that circle. Those are stamped images along with the arrow die cut and the designer paper. And then here's one that I did Sunday stamping with Susan and Julie. And this is a simple card using the He's the Man designer paper as kind of a card front. Oh my gosh, this paper is just the bomb. I love it. We have one more card, so let's go ahead and dive into our last card of the Wildlife Wonder card class. This one is also a Sahara Sand card base. Gotta flip my pages if you're looking for directions, pictures, measurements, all ready to go. You can grab that PDF. I lost my paper. Right there. You can get the PDF. I still have card kits if you're interested in making the cards along with me. tinyurl.com/June2022 PDF goes to my Etsy store. tinyurl.com/June2022 SOTM is where you can reserve the card kit. Ooh, I should tell you guys what we're going to feature next month. I was going to say I can't show the inside of the catalog yet. I'll have to see if I can find my bundle. It's hiding. Let's get this last card made up. We've got Sahara Sand for the card base. This is 5.5 by 8.5. I lost my directions. Here we go. Then Very Vanilla for the inside. That's 4 inches by 5 1/4. 2.5 by 3.5 Early Espresso. I'm wearing progressive lenses, and I'm having a hard time reading the small text right next to me. Oh my gosh, getting old sucks. Okay, then 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 Very Vanilla cardstock. 3/4 inches by 4 inches Very Vanilla cardstock. 1 1/4 by 3 1/4 Cajun Craze. And 1/2 inch by 1 1/4 Cajun Craze. We need to cut some designer paper, so let's get out the paper trimmer and our designer paper pieces. Let's see. Here it is. So this card is, nope, what are we using? We need this one. So many browns. We're using the brown plaid on this one. And you need 2 inches by 4 inches. I think that's 2. Yep. 2 inches by 4 inches. Half inch by 2.5 of the Cajun Craze stripes. Half by 2.5. I think we had that measurement on another card. And then also, oh, that same brown plaid, we need a 1/2 inch by 4. Okay, so to review the designer paper, 2 by 4, 1/2 by 4, and 1/2 by 2.5. You know what? We need to grab that paper trimmer again. This card is a fun fold, and we're going to need to do a little more manipulating on our paper trimmer. Let me give you a sneak peek of this card. Here it is with the Wildlife Wonder stamp set. This is a partial easel card. I've never done this one before, so as far as I know, I made it up. We're gonna do a diagonal fold on the top part that will go ahead and prop up with the easel inside, but the bottom is covered, and then you can open it up and you can write your message. So you can have your message on there, and then you can cover up your message and display your card with the half easel. I really thought this was kind of fun and clever, and so I'm going to walk you through cutting and scoring the card base so that you have the portion on top scored diagonally and the portion on the bottom. It's not as hard as it looks. It's going to be okay. Let's get that Sahara Sand cardstock out and our paper trimmer. And let's make our first cut. So we're going to line up our cardstock at 3 1/4. And we're going to use the dark blade, which is the scoring blade. And I like to go line up at the card folds. So do you see on the side here we have the line? This indicates where the blade is cutting. So we want to line up that line with the score line at 5.5 inches. If you're using the ruler here, we're lining that line up, and then we're going to go up to cut. Okay, so again, this was 3 1/4 inches. We lined up at the score line and cut up. So the result is we have a card base with a front that's cut so that there's a top part and a bottom part. The next step is going to be to score diagonally from that point up to the corner. So we're going from the bottom fold to the top corner. For this one, we're going to use the lighter blade. This is the scoring blade. So we're going to open up the track and we're going to line up. This is where it gets a little tricky. So I'm going to fold that bottom part so I can see where the corner is that I want to line up. And I'm lining this up in the track and this up in the track. So just keep kind of moving that around until you get them both lined up. And then we're going to take that scoring blade and score. Again, we're going from the bottom where the fold is up to the top corner. Did you guys make it through okay? I think so. You got this. We're going to use the bone folder to get a nice good crease. And then we're also going to fold on that diagonal. So I'm going to fold this down. It's not going to line up here, right? Because it's not square, so it's going to kind of go off the edge, which is fine. We're just going to use the bone folder to get a nice good crease on that. It'll be ready to go when we're ready to prop it up. Okay, so this is the card front. Diagonal at the top and the smaller piece here on the bottom. Are we ready to do some stamping? You got it! All right. Tom's laughing at me. Okay, we're going to do on the bottom, on the inside piece rather, we're going to stamp in Cajun Craze. We're finally using Cajun Craze. We're gonna stamp in Cajun Craze our little flower, and then we're going to put the designer paper on the bottom. The other pieces that we're going to stamp are the long skinny Very Vanilla, and we're going to stamp the wolf on the medium size Very Vanilla. So pretty much all the Very Vanilla pieces. Oh, also we need the long, I guess I made that really long. It didn't need to be that long. So Cajun Craze. So we're stamping on the Very Vanilla pieces and the Cajun Craze piece. And we're going to use, well, we're going to start with the Cajun Craze. So let's clean off our little grassy flower. And then the wolf, we need to clean the wolf too, because he last had black ink, and we're going to do the wolf in Early Espresso. Okay, so Early Espresso, Cajun Craze. Let's see, we're also going to use To a Great Guy, which I think last had black ink. So let's go ahead and clean that one. And then Sending Birthday Wishes. Oh, we haven't used that one yet. This will be the first time. So that one is ready to go. All right, let's do our stamping. Cajun Craze. And like I said, I did not use Cajun Craze on other cards, but I think you certainly could have substituted the Cajun Craze grass instead of, you know, Sahara sand or, you know, other things. So we got the grass there. I don't think we did our last envelope. Oh man, we were slacking. Let's go ahead and stamp this one while we have this out. Okay, so we've got this going. Gonna add the designer paper to the bottom. Okay. Next up, we're stamping an Early Espresso. We're going to stamp the wolf. I did it towards the right side. We're gonna have another little element that goes here. And then the sentiment on the long Very Vanilla piece is Sending Birthday Wishes.
And it says, hello, newbie here, but is your paper trimmer Stampin' Up?
It is Stampin' Up. Yes, Stampin' Up has had, I think it was a couple years ago, we had a new paper trimmer that came out. I think this is the one where the label is crooked. So I'm gonna line up my block. Let's get out that paper trimmer and take a look. It's got a big adhesive booger. This is the newest paper trimmer from Stampin' Up. See right there, Stampin' Up. And it has an arm that extends out. It has a cutting blade and a scoring blade, which I just love. I use this ruler a lot. It's right here on the side. Actually, I have multiple paper trimmers, and so here's a little tip. I haven't done it yet on this one, but you can use your tear and tape or a piece of a skinny piece of white cardstock, and you can put it over your probably we want to use a nice trim edge here. Oh my gosh, this is scary. I'm doing this live on camera. I'm going to add this piece to that ruler so that you can see it better. Hold on. But I'm not going to take the tape off. And so now, maybe you can't see it. Let's add a colored cardstock piece. Now that ruler, instead of being clear, has a white background so we can better see those markings. So if you like that tip, that's tear and tape on the inside there, or a piece of white cardstock strip. But the tear and tape is easy because it already has the sticky on it. So just a way to enhance your using of the paper trimmer. But I do love this. The one thing that I miss out on that the old paper trimmer had was that these measurements on the old paper trimmer were up here. And so we don't have that in the new on the new trimmer, which means that when your paper is in here, you're covering up the measurements, whereas the old one had the measurements printed up there. other than that, I really do like the new paper trimmer. Okay, that was a little side commercial for the paper trimmer. Great question. Thanks for asking. I'm going to stamp my birthday wishes again because I think this is a little light over there. I got such a great impression on the To a Great Guy that I decided sending birthday wishes needed to happen again. But now I feel like that's a little crooked, so we're just going to go with the original. That's the great thing about our awesome cardstock is we got two sides. If you mess up the first one, no worries. Okay, let's do some layering and we're going to get this card put together. Let's get it out of the way by adding our inside piece to the inside of the Sahara Sand card. I want to take a quick moment just to say thanks for sticking around. If you're still here, I know sometimes these online classes can go a little bit long, and for some of you, it's quite late. So thank you for sticking around, and if you couldn't make it, thanks for coming back to watch the rest later. How many people do we have watching, Thomas? 90. That's wonderful. I'm so glad you guys are all here. Thank you for spending some time with me this evening. Okay, we're still doing some simple layering. I'm trying to not get too far ahead of myself here. So I added the wolf to the early espresso. Next, we're going to add that designer paper to the front of the card. I love breaking down cards that look complicated into easy steps. And so I hope that these classes do that. They break down cards that look complicated into steps that are easy to reproduce at home. We're going to do some layering down here on the bottom of the card. And this is one of my favorite layerings of all the cards I made. I really just love this. We're going to do a little tear on the left edge. And I like that tear better. But I don't know if I have more room to tear. Oh, I screwed that up. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and stamp it again. I'm stealing one from another card kit, the luxury of having spare pieces. Oh my God, that's perfect. Now let's see if I can tear it perfect. Okay. I love the extra shape. Oh, that's unfortunate. Do you see what I did?
Is this card base espresso or black?
This card base is Sahara Sand. The designer paper is early espresso. Oh my goodness gracious, Thomas. We're doing so good until this little piece right here. It's going to be the end of me. You know what? Good enough. Okay, we're going to add some of the Cajun Craze cardstock designer paper. And right now I'm just going to kind of hold these because before I put the birthday wishes on, I want to add some twine. So this is just sort of for placement. I'm adding the Cajun Craze directly to that paper. And then we're going to take our last piece of linen thread and we're going to do some circles. Some loops. I guess that's a better word for it. Some loops. And if you're joining late, we talked about this at the beginning. There's a large piece of twine linen thread that comes with the card kit, and I cut it into 4 pieces. So like I cut it in half, like I folded it in half and then in half again. And so this is about 9 to 10 inches of linen thread. And we're going to put adhesive on the back and then glue down our loopy loops. Perfect. Some Stampin' Dimensionals to add this to the card. Look what I just found. This was left over from the first card, and I could have used it 2 different times, and I cut new pieces both times. Oh my goodness gracious. So now this is going to go over that Cajun Craze piece. Make sure it's on there straight. That's great. We're done. That's it. I'm kidding. All right. We're getting close. Like, we only have a few pieces left to deal with. So the first one is going to be the wolf. So let's get that on there first. Now we want to make sure, because this is going to fold up like this, no adhesive should go in this top corner. So we're going to use some tear and tape adhesive to add this to the card. You can do this in one of 2 ways. You can either put it on the card itself, as long as you're not going over, and that way you know it's not going to go over the edge, or you can put it on the back of the actual piece. Before I peel it off, just making sure that's going to fit. And this is going to be centered in the space above. Last embellishment for the front, we're going to take this tiny little piece of Cajun Craze and do some more tearing. This is going to just be a little embellishment up in the corner. I really liked this guy, but I wanted it to be a piece that was long. And so I'm adding this over here just for some more visual interest, so that it has a little more to look at besides just the wolf. So this is going to go hanging off the edge just a little bit. And if you got your card kit, you can bring out the last couple dots. There is an extra big one that we're not using, but the 2 small ones are going to be on this card in the corner here. Okay. We're almost done. We've got our front decorated. On the inside, we're going to add the To a Great Guy. One last tear. You guys have done so good. One last tear for the night. This is going to go on the inside with Stampin' Dimensionals. And this is how we're going to place it. We're going to close the top piece, and we're going to make sure that the To a Great Guy is completely visible, so that when the card is propped open, like this, that we can see that entire sentiment To a Great Guy. So let's go ahead and add some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of To a Great Guy. This is the piece that is propping up the easel, and so you have to use Stampin' Dimensionals so that there is something to catch the cardstock. Okay, so again, I'm going to close this so I can slide that under, and I'm going about 1/4 to 1/2 inch from the side. To a Great Guy, as long as we can see the whole sentiment, that's a good placing. And I did cover up so that the tear is underneath the fold. Okay, now when you fold on that diagonal, it will catch on the To a Great Guy. So for display, you have a partial easel card with a beautiful sentiment on the front, To a Great Guy, sending birthday wishes. And then on the inside, you can write your message that can get covered up when it's on display. I love the way this card turned out. I hope that you do too. I've done some easel cards before and some diagonal easel cards, but I've never done a partial easel card like this. So I hope that you like this kind of new fun fold. Of course, I did it again with the Brood for You. So here's that sample. I don't like it as much as the wolf, but I wanted to show you a sample using a different stamp set. We got, oh, L, yes, another round for your birthday. And that is the 5th card in our card class. I'm going to bring them all back out because I want you guys to tell me which card you like best. We have our partial easel card with the wolf. Here's another wolf card we did with the Stampin' Blends. We've got our pocket card with the owl. What's this one? Oh, this was the first card we made. I love that bear. There's another bear card right here with the note of thanks. I'm going to switch these so we can vary our bears Okay, guys, so now they're going to be in opposite. Let me put them in the order that we made them so you can say 1, 2, 3. So the first card was the bear. Okay, so this is number 1. The second card was the owl pocket card. That's number 2. The third card was the wolf, number 3. Then we have another bear. He was number 4. And the partial easel card with the wolf is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leave a comment. Let me know which of these you liked. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope that you enjoyed these card ideas and that I've shared a few ideas, even if you don't have the Wildlife Wonder stamp set, although I think you're going to fall in love with it. So if you do want to get the Wildlife Wonder stamp set, you can grab that in my online store, juliedavison.com/shop. Tom's going to share the link in the live chat right now for you. He's just going to copy and paste that. Thanks so much, Tom, for doing that. Now, I want to give you one last reminder that I do have some card kits left. So if you're interested in getting the Wildlife Wonder card kit, you can reserve one right there, tinyurl.com/June 2022 SOTM. And if you just want the PDF, you can grab that in my Etsy shop at tinyurl.com/June 2022 PDF. To make all of these cards. Oh my goodness. Well, while I've got you guys here, I'll take in questions. If you have any questions, leave them in the live chat right now. Tom's going to let me know what questions are coming through. I want to give you a little peek at what we're going to do next time. So I have to stand up and grab that product. So 1 second.
Bears.
Oh my gosh, I can't find the coordinating dies, but my class for July is going to feature the Ringed with Nature stamp set. I'm going to move these Wildlife Wonder cards out of the way. Tom, can you tell from the comments what's everybody's favorite?
Looks like it's sort of spread out. Maybe 5.
The last one?
Votes, yeah. But I mean, everyone's saying they're all good, but I like 5 slightly more. Someone's asking how much is the class kit?
The class kit is $20, which includes the PDF. You can add an optional color printout if you prefer to have it printed for you, the directions. That's an extra $2. And then postage for the kit alone is $5. If you'd like to add on the stamp set, I'll cover tax and shipping paid to Stampin' Up. And you can add the stamp set on for, I think it's $22 or $24. And then priority postage for that is $8 for the stamp set and the card kit. Oh my goodness gracious. Have you guys seen this amazing new paper? Oh, this is the new, what is it called? I don't even know, it's so new. It's called Rings of Love designer paper. This is a 12 by 12 designer paper, and it coordinates with the Ringed with Nature stamp set. This is what I will be featuring in next month's online class. So I hope that you will plan to join me. If this stamp set and bundle is on your wish list, then wait for those, wait for the email notification, because I always have extra perks when you add on the stamp set. This designer paper is available as a free celebration gift when you order $50 or more during celebration, which starts tomorrow. The Ringed with Nature stamp is in the July through December mini catalog. And this will be the stamp set that I feature. So next month at the end of July, we'll be having a card class just like we did tonight, using these designer paper patterns and the Ringed with Nature stamp set. I cannot wait to show you what I come up with. I haven't come up with it yet, but I've got lots of ideas in my head, and I just can't wait to make them happen. If you cannot wait for new mini catalog stuff, then you definitely want to check out my paper share. I've got so much stuff everywhere. Let's get this out of the way. That's a sneak peek of next month. Oh, this is what starts tomorrow. The July through December mini catalog. I cannot open up the pages for a few more hours, but you can sign up to get a product share, which includes all the new designer paper 6x6 pieces of all the new designer paper and specialty papers, including the new host designer paper, which I haven't gotten yet. It's not included in this stack, but it will be included in the product share that you get. My product share will also include a yard each of all the new ribbons. So you'll have new designer paper and new ribbons to use with all the new amazing things that are out in the new mini catalog. It's not too late. I'm sending out invoices and ordering tomorrow for the first round. So if you would like to participate in my July through December 2022 Stampin' Up! Mini Catalog product share, you can sign up at tinyurl.com/JD for July to December 2022 product share. I'm also doing 12 days of Christmas gift box. This is going to be so much fun. We did this back in December, or I guess it was really November, and I wrapped up 12 individual gifts, full-size Stampin' Up! Product, and then I did a daily video featuring each of the products. You can get your own gift box right now by reserving it at tinyurl.com/JulieGiftBox. You'll receive a box that includes 12 individually wrapped presents plus one extra one for me. You can open them all at once, or you can open one at a time and follow along in that daily video series starting July 25th. Each of these individual items adds up to over $100 in Stampin' Up! Product. It's going to be so awesome. I cannot wait. I'm finalizing the plans right now so that I can place the orders, and I will be sending out invoices tonight. So watch for that if you've already signed up. And if you haven't, it's not too late. Check that out. If you're a demonstrator, you can also sign up for Vacation Stamping School. Oh my gosh, we got so much going on. Vacation Stamping School is an annual demonstrator training event that we've done with our team for 17 years. Vacation Stamping School will highlight and focus on the new products in the July through December mini catalog. It's going to include business presentations as well as 5 suite spotlights with ideas for 5 different suites in the new annual catalog. We're going to have a mix and match class featuring the Lights Aglow bundle. That's the one on the cover. It is gorgeous. You have 2 different options. You can sign up for a virtual only option where you just attend the event, which will be live streamed on Facebook. Videos will also be available off Facebook to view later on. Or you can get the option that includes a swag box with a $50 value box of goodies, including product from the new mini catalog and an event exclusive. I can't wait for Vacation Stamping School, and I hope you'll join us this August on Saturday, August 6th. It's an all-day event, so plan to tune in all day and chat. Or again, if you can't make it that day, you can watch the replay and still participate. Oh my goodness. Are there any questions, Thomas?
Nope. People are just saying good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you enjoyed all the Wildlife Wonder cards that we made and that you will give them a try at home. Just one last reminder that I'd love for you to share your version of these cards in Julie's Stamping Spot Share and Connect group on Facebook, especially if you used a different stamp set at home. I'd love to see how they turned out. Oh, Thomas is reminding me, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on free card making classes and daily videos, Sunday stamping with Susan and Julie, card swap. We got so much going on over here at Julie's Stamping Spot. If you enjoyed tonight's video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. It helps us so much, and we're so grateful for your support. Thank you again. Have a great night, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.